Hey everyone, Craig Williams here, back with another video. In this video I'm going to further show you a little bit more about Sylenth using the filters, envelopes and LFOs and whatnot. And in this one we're going to cover mainly sort of bass sounds. So I'm just going to make 3 basses using different routing and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys can sort of further get more of an idea on the concept of modulation and filters and stuff like that. So away we go. Yeah. First up, obviously got Sylenth loaded up, and we want to initialize a preset. First bass sound we're going to make is more of like a synth bass, not so much of as a pluck or something like that. It's more of a layered sort of sound. So to start off, we've got just a simple sound like that. Want to come along to the first oscillator and bring it down 1 octave. So it's nice and bassy now. Bring the volume down a little bit, and you'll see a little bit later on why we brought the volume down. And we want to bring the stereo in a little bit and bring the voices up to 4 and detune, so you can hear the change there. And take retrig off, so you can hear that. Makes it more of a paddy sort of sound there. Next up we'll go over to the second oscillator, bring that down 2, and before we can hear it, obviously we need some voices, so put it to 3 voices. And if you got headphones on or pretty good speakers, you'll hear there's a lot of sub going in there, so we're going to make that another sawtooth. And then we've got sort of a bit more of a dirty sound there. Next up, want to come along and with the stereo just pull it back in again. Because it's a bass sound, we don't want it too spread out because of phasing and stuff like that. You want it nice and tight. And that's about it for that section. Next up we'll go to the filter, and we put a low pass filter on. And bring the cutoff for filter A down a little bit. We'll give it a little bit of drive and put key tracking up for the filter and the warm drive on. Want to bring the polyphony down to 1 and so there you go. That's pretty much about it. We've made this one nice and simple, just for you guys to sort of understand sort of getting a bass going. You can further develop the sound a little bit more by adding some EQ on there. So you can already hear it makes it a little bit more crispy. So what I tend to do when I'm EQing something like this is put the value, like the dB value, all the way up and just sweep through where I want it to sit. So I like there, and then bring it down. Adds a nice little bite to the sound. Put a little bit of resonance in. There you go, there's the first bass. We'll just keep going on. We've only got 15 minutes, so we're going to try and get all of them out in time. Next one, bring back and initialize the preset again. Start up here, octave 1, bring that down 1. Voices to 1. Volume full, phase, detune and stereo and pan, all leave as is. Go across to, so Same sound again. Want to go across to bring that down 2, and voices up 2, and this one is going to be another sawtooth wave as well. Bring this down to 1. So it's just playing a mono sound, the bass sound. And that's pretty much it for oscillator 2. Now we start to work on the amp envelope. So I want to bring the sustain down and the decay up, so we get a nice little bite to the sound. I want to do it so we don't have it immediately the sound cut off. Has a nice little release to the sound as well. Next up, we'll head over to the filter section. Put a low pass filter on. So that's the sound there, and we're going to modulate this this dial here with an envelope. So we want to pull this all the way down, and then we come across to cut off A, and this is where we can want to bring so you can start to hear that come through now. It's a relatively quiet patch, so bring the volume up a little bit. It's a nice little plucky sort of bass sound. So what we've done here is modulated, same as we did the sound here, but we're modulating this cutoff, so it has this decay in it, so effectively the filter is just quickly jumping up and then back down again. That's why we get the nice little pluck sound. Again, you can put EQ on there and maybe a compressor. Get a little bit more beef out of the sound. Also, you can just change up the oscillators to get slightly different sounds. So don't just copy the patch and just use it. Play around with some different stuff. You might be able to find you can change the sound totally and make it your own sort of thing. So that's about it for that one. Again, we're going to initialize a preset, and we'll do the last bass now. So again, it's just the bring the polyphony down. Oscillator 1 is down 1 octave. Want to bring the volume around and bring the phase, so this is the start position of where it starts on the waveform. Detune the same, stereo the same, and pan the same, and voice is just the one. Amp envelope will leave the same. Oscillator 2, bring the volume down again for that one. Want to bring this up to 2 voices and around to a sawtooth wave. And we want to detune that slightly. You can hear a slight change in the sound there, and bring the stereo all the way down. You can really hear that when you bring the stereo down. We can head over to part B, and we're going to bring the octave down and bring the voices up to 4. I'm going to bring the volume down again for that one. Bring the phase up a little bit. So again, that's the start position of where it sits on the waveform, and detune up a little bit because we've got 4 voices, so you want to detune those slightly unless you want a nice thick sound of having them all start at the same time. Head over to the final oscillator here, and we'll go up 1. And trying to bring the volume down a little bit on that one. And that's about it. So from there we'll go into the filter section. So we'll jump back over to part A, and for this one, filters part A and B going into filter A, and this one will be low pass, and bring the cutoff all the way down. So all we can hear now is part B, and for part B we go again B and A, and we want the cutoff all the way down for that, because we're going to, again with the last one, we're going to modulate these values to control these dials here. And for this one it's going to be another low pass, and for this one we're going to bring the drive up a little bit as well. For the filter control section we can just pull it down a little bit, put the warm drive on, and put key tracking up a little bit. From there we actually want to modulate these dials here, so come down to the mod envelope section, and we want to go cut off A and B, and we want a lot in there, and you can start to hear the bass there. So if you want the bass more plucky, you can pull it down, and then, or if you want it more open, you can pull it up. So this one's going to be another fairly plucky sort of bass sound, and then I want a little bit of more release on it, so we'll go cut off A and B again, up full, and then just put a little bit of release on there. Again, some other things you can do. Some other things you can do is put the EQ, and again it's just by sounds good about there. Back it off. You hear the little click, so we'll just put up the amp envelope on each one, so get rid of that little click sound. And then maybe compressor sort of kills the sound a bit, maybe a chorus on. So there you go, there's 3 bass sounds using different levels of modulation and stuff like that. So hopefully you guys have picked up some little tips and tricks for on how the routing works using mod envelopes to control the filters and stuff like that. Again, for the next video we're going to do get into Sylenth a little bit more. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, or subscribe to my Facebook page, SoundCloud, and stuff like that. All the support is really greatly appreciated. Until next time, see you later.